When I was first coming up as a creative back in high school, trying to figure out, who do I want to be? Do I want to be an artist? Do I want to be a writer? Do I want to be a musician? I was trying out a lot of different things, and I was really trying to pursue music. And I remember at the time having a really difficult time figuring out what that meant for me. How do I go about this? How do I get started? And one of my favorite musicians at the time, who wasn't very big, I decided I was going to reach out to them. I was going to send them an email. Their email was still public. It was on their website, I think. And I figured, hey, it wouldn't hurt just to see if they had any tips for me. And much to my surprise, they wrote back. They sent me this really thoughtful, long, descriptive email about all of these different ways that I could go about trying to figure out my voice. But the core idea that stuck out, the main thing right there in the subject line sprinkled throughout was steal your ideas. That's it. They clarified this by saying it doesn't mean that you should plagiarize. That doesn't mean that you should try to pass other people's work off as your own, but it means that you need, if you want to be a creative, if you want to be somebody who creates meaningful work, you need to analyze the work that came before. You need to look at it and pick it apart and see what makes it tick. And a great exercise for trying to figure out your voice is emulating everything about theirs. Figure out what inherently sticks to you, what doesn't work, and kind of Frankenstein it in this way to figure out yourself. And honestly, all these years later, that's some of the best creative advice I've ever received. We have this obsession as creatives, especially when we're just starting out, that we need to be original. We try to come out of the gate with these big, bold ideas that no one's ever heard of. We try to make our mark and be these people that are moving and changing the industry. But the truth of the matter is, nothing is 100% original. Not really. Every idea that we have is built on the idea of somebody else. Every story borrows elements from other stories, and every style is a remix of a remix of a remix of something else. Heck, even this video is a rehash of the ideas that Austin Kleon talks about in his book, Steal Like an Artist, which in and of itself is a collection of ideas that artists have been sharing for centuries. At the end of the day, stealing, when done right, isn't a problem. It's part of the process, and it's part of getting better as an artist. And when I say done right, I need to be clear. Copying and stealing are not the same. Copying means you're just making a replica of something else. It's probably worse, it's less honest, it's less you. But stealing, at least in a creative sense, is an entire deconstruction of something else. You're analyzing it, you're thinking about it, you're figuring out the ways that it works. And when you're actively trying to take these ideas and incorporate them, it really just means you're internalizing them. You're using them as raw materials for something entirely new. Because the goal isn't to make what they made. What's the point in that? You don't need to write the same story that they wrote. You need to write something new. And so stealing, in this sense, effectively just means tracing their path and learning from it, figuring out what that journey was, what all the choices that they made. And you're thinking about the way that it makes you feel, how you are feeling as you are going along that journey. And when you take that energy and you filter it through your own perspective and your own experiences and your own weird brain, you can create something new. And that works because the best artists aren't pulling from just one influence. They're not trying to make the next version of this specific thing. They're taking a lifetime of experiences and moments and perspectives to create something new. And these influences can be anything. right? They can be books, they can be movies, they can be music, they can be conversations and colors and phrases and general vibes. And when you collect those things, when you line them up side by side and you start seeing patterns, you start seeing you. You start better understanding who you are as a person through the lens of all of the people that came before you. And that's an incredible foundation when you're an artist to understand where you come from, because it allows you to see what you can bring to the table. And that's the thing about this process, right? As you experiment and you borrow and you remix old ideas, you start to sound less and less and less like the people that came before you and more like yourself. So steal your ideas, steal like an artist, steal generously, but steal thoughtfully, steal with intention. Come at it from a place of curiosity and honesty, not so that you can copy somebody else's work, but so you can figure out yourself. And when you do that, and you do it with intention, you can make something that really matters.